Good morning, students. So, let us begin with the poem The Pilgrim. The title Pilgrim, let us know about the title Pilgrim. The word pilgrim means a person who travels to holy places for religious purpose. But the implied meaning here is a person journeying through life or a dutiful person. Okay, so let us learn a few facts about the poem in the next slide. Uh, as I told you in the video, the poem The Pilgrim is written by an anonymous writer. It means we do not know the name of the poet. The tone of the poem is serious. The structure of the poem, let us see. The poem is written in 3 stanzas of unequal length. The first stanza is of 7 lines, the second stanza is of 6 lines, and the third stanza is of 8 lines. The central idea, the poem revolves around the idea of having selfless attitude. It focuses on the thought that people with experience of life should help inexperienced people selflessly. Uh, it means it is well explained with an example of an old and experienced man who displays unselfish attitude. Okay. As the stanzas are of unequal length, the rhyme scheme of all the 3 stanzas is different. So the first stanza follows the rhyme scheme AAB CCBB. Let us see how the ending word of the first line is way. The ending word of second line is gray. So way and gray rhyme. So it is AA. Then in the next 2 lines, wide does not rhyme with dim. So wide will consider as B. Then dim and him rhyme together. So we'll mark them as CC. And the next 2 lines have ending words as side and tide, which rhyme. So uh, that's how the what you call the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is AA B C C B B. Let us see about the second stanza. It has 6 lines. So the rhyme scheme is AA B B C C. It means the 2 consecutive lines are the words ending words are rhyming. Let us see. The first line near and the second line here. These two rhyme, near and here rhyme together, so AA. Then day and way rhyme together, so BB. And wide and tide rhyme together, so CC. So the second stanza follows the rhyme scheme AA BB CC. Let us see about the third stanza. It follows the rhyme scheme AA BB CC DD because it has 8 lines. And let us see how the first 2 lines, the ending words are head and said. They rhyme together, so we'll mark them as AA. Then today and way. Today rhymes with way, so we'll mark them as BB. Then me rhymes with B, so we'll mark them as CC. And dim rhymes with him, so we'll mark them as DD. So AA, BB, CC, DD. Okay. Figures of speech such as inversion, tautology, personification, and interrogation are used to enhance the beauty of the poem. I hope you have done all the 4 figures of speech in the previous class. If not, we'll learn in this poem and we'll go through all these in the warming up exercise. Okay. Now let us see the language and imagery. I have told you about imagery in the previous poem, that imagery is a poetic device used to describe or bring in front of eyes pictures with the use of words. So let us see how imagery is used over here. The language is narrative. Narrative means it has a flow, it is a flowy language. Some archaic words are used to enhance the beauty of the poem. Archaic words are words which were used in Old English, which are not now presently used in conversation, but archaic words appear in poems. Okay, so the use of imagery provides vivid description. So you will find pictures coming in front of your eyes as you read the poem. The poem has an implied meaning, means the literal meaning and implied meaning. Will understand the literal as well as the implied meaning. Implied meaning means hidden meaning or a suggested meaning. So we'll learn about the implied meaning as well as the literal meaning as we go with the explanation of the poem. Now, this poem also has a strong underlying message about what I told you is selfless attitude. Coming towards the warming up exercise, uh, children, now we cannot form groups and discuss, but you can discuss with your family or you can explore on your own. Now, what fatal dangers or problems did mankind face centuries ago but are no longer a threat today? Now, fatal, let me explain you what is the meaning of fatal. Fatal means something that causes death. So, fatal dangers centuries ago can be considered as epidemics or threat from wild animals or lack of medical treatment, etc. Now, these we have overcome with the advancement of time and technology. Okay, so coming towards the next question, name a few scientists, explorers, social reformers, inventors, discoverers who spent most of their lives to find solutions to some major problems, setbacks that mankind faced. Obviously, children, we are now in a very comfortable age, but all these people have toiled hard, uh, serving us or bringing serving to the society and serving to the mankind. I am going to name only a few, but you can add more people to this list. So, coming to the scientist, Marie Curie, J.C. Bose, then coming towards explorers, Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus. Vasco da Gama was a Portuguese explorer and first European to reach India by sea, whereas Christopher Columbus was an Italian navigator who completed 4 voyages across the Atlantic Ocean. Now, let us see social reformers. So, I think you must have learnt in your history about social reformers. So, I'll talk about a few, that is Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule, who toiled hard for women education. Then Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who abolished the evil customs of sati and child marriage. Coming towards inventors, we all know Wright brothers, who invented the aeroplane. Then Louis Pasteur and Alexander Fleming have contributed a lot to humankind. Uh, Louis Pasteur was a French biologist who is known for his principle of vaccination. And Alexander Fleming is known for his discovery of penicillin. Now, moving towards discoverers, Isaac Newton, who discovered the law of universal gravitation, Galileo Galilei, who discovered the 4 biggest moons of Jupiter and also the rings of Saturn. So, children, here are few that I named, but the list is big, and I want you to explore more names in all the fields given over here. Now, did they themselves suffer from any of these problems? No. What inspired them to spend the best of their lives to research and share their findings? Uh, what inspired them? What inspired them? It was the basic urge a passion for well-being of mankind, aims and interest in the subject, or the curiosity or the urge to improve society and help others. Now, children, let us see a few figures of speech which are mentioned over here. The first one is tautology. If two or more words in the same line convey the same meaning, the figure of speech in that line is called tautology. For example, it brought joy and cheer. Joy and cheer convey one and the same meaning. The other is they groaned with aches and pains. Now, aches, you must be knowing body ache, headache, stomach ache. So, ache and pain both are the meaning of the same, two sides of the same coin, we can say, conveying the same meaning. So, words which appear in a line having same meaning or which convey the same meaning, such in a line, that such figure of speech is called tautology. We'll find tautology in the poem. Then moving towards the second part, that is inversion. Poets often change the proper grammatical order of words in the line of a poem in order to make the lines rhyme or to emphasize upon something. Generally, children, if the poet wants to follow a specific rhyme scheme, they just disturb or change the prose order, or to emphasize something, they change the prose order, and that is how figure of speech inversion is created. It is also known as anastrophe. So, for example, up came the sun, down the hill it flowed. Up came the sun can be the sun came up and it flowed down the hill. It should have been written. It should have been written this way, but to maintain a particular rhyme scheme or to emphasize, the prose order is changed. Coming towards the next, when a question is asked in order to create a dramatic effect and not to get an answer in a line of the poem, the figure of speech used is called interrogation or rhetorical question. For example, what is this life if full of care? When can their glory fade? Now, children, the answers are not expected from the reader. The poet only emphasizes or uses such question sentences for creating a dramatic effect. Now, we'll start with the poem explanation in the next slide.